Imagine a man losing everything: his power, his movement, his freedom, and somehow turning that defeat into the fuel that would set the entire world on fire. Now imagine the world helping him do it, without even realizing. Because the rise of Adolf Hitler didn't start on a battlefield. It started in a prison cell, with a pen, a bruised ego, and a country on the edge of collapse. This is how a failed revolutionary became the dictator who dragged the world into its darkest chapter. Take a breath. Let's go back to Germany in the early 1920s. The country is broken, shredded by the Treaty of Versailles, drowning in debt, humiliated on the world stage. People are angry, starving, frightened, and desperate for someone, anyone, who promises a way out. Amid this chaos, a small, fiery political movement starts shouting louder than everyone else they meet in beer halls. They wave red banners. They talk about betrayal, pride, and revenge. At the center of it stands a man who speaks with volcanic rage: Adolf Hitler. But here's the twist. In 1923, he tries to overthrow the government with a mob of followers, the Beer Hall Putsch. It's a complete disaster, shots fired. People killed. Hitler is arrested while hiding in a friend's house. His dream is over. His movement collapses. Newspapers mock him. Even his supporters think he's finished. And then something unbelievable happens. His trial becomes a stage. Instead of shrinking, he explodes. Reporters cram the courtroom. He delivers furious speeches blaming Germany's defeat on enemies inside and outside the nation. Ideas that were dangerous then, and terrifying in hindsight. But the judges, they're sympathetic. They give him a sentence that's shockingly light. Just a few years, and he only serves 9 months. 9 months. Enough time to write a book that will shape a decade, and shatter a century. Inside his quiet prison cell, Hitler dictates Mein Kampf. Not a diary, not a confession, a manifesto, a roadmap, a warning nobody took seriously. When he finally walks out of prison, he's not the same angry agitator who went in. He's calmer, more focused. He realizes something huge. If you want to take over a country, you don't attack it. You win it from the inside, legally, slowly, patiently, and the world unknowingly sets the stage for him. Germany enters its darkest economic nightmare in hyperinflation. People carrying wheelbarrows of money just to buy bread. Savings wiped out overnight. Families starving. And right when it seems like things can't get worse, the Great Depression hits factories close. Banks collapse. Millions lose their jobs, hope evaporates. And that's when Hitler makes his move. He promises stability. He promises strength. He promises to make Germany proud again. His speeches explode across the country like wildfire. Crowds gather by the thousands, then tens of thousands. He tells them he can fix the economy, restore the army, tear up the Treaty of Versailles, and more than anything, give them someone to blame. Fear becomes anger. Anger becomes loyalty. Loyalty becomes votes. By 1932, the Nazis go from fringe nobodies to the largest political party in Germany. Hitler doesn't win an election outright. But the politicians who fear him the most end up handing him power anyway, thinking they can control him, thinking he'll fail, thinking they're smarter. They were wrong. In January 1933, Adolf Hitler is appointed Chancellor of Germany. Not by force, not by revolution, but through a system that underestimated him, and a population that was drowning in despair. Within months, he dismantles the democracy that put him there. Civil rights vanish. Opponents disappear. The press is muzzled. Books are burned. Children are indoctrinated. Jews are targeted. And Germany, exhausted, furious, and hungry for a savior, follows him into the abyss. From that moment on, the world begins ticking toward a second global war. A war that would kill tens of millions. A war born from economic ruin, political arrogance, and one man's relentless ambition. And here's the most chilling part. It didn't start with armies. It didn't start with tanks. It didn't start with a declaration. It started with fear, with anger, with a country pushed to the edge, and a man who knew exactly how to use it. History doesn't just turn on battles. Sometimes it turns in quiet rooms, in prison cells, in voting booths, and in the hearts of people who feel they have nothing left to lose. That's the rise of Adolf Hitler, and not as a monster who appeared out of nowhere, but as a product of his time, his country's pain, and the world's failure to see the storm forming on the horizon. If you found this breakdown compelling, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. There are so many turning points, just like this, that shape the world we live in today. See you in the next one.